The Lester Glenn name in the automobile business has a long history that dates back to 1956.
My father found a bankrupt Buick dealership on Flint Road in South Toms River. It was a one-showroom, three-car garage. We moved to the new store on Route 37 in 56. He couldn't be the franchisee and have any security that, God forbid, he had another heart attack that was fatal, that it would go to the family unless my mother was deeply involved in the business. And consequently, my mother and my father both went to work.
In 1966, Lester Glenn asked his son-in-law Stanley Krausar to join the company.
I was a pharmacist at the time, and I quit my job and came to work, quote-unquote, temporarily, to help out the family.
He and my father got along remarkably well.
The location of Lester Glenn at that time was where the Hyundai store is today on Route 37.
We had Buick, we had Isuzu, and I think we had Subaru and Opel, and we had outgrown our facility where the old Hyundai store is, and we needed to build a new facility. And my father was not looking for a debt to go buy new property. And anyway, we ganged up on him, my mother, Stanley, and I, and we finally got my father to buy the property on which the GM building is built.
In 1972, Stan became partner and manager of operations. Lester Glenn passed away in 1984, and Stan took over the dealership. His vision and persistence allowed Lester Glenn to grow and expand through the years.
GM decided that the channeling of different brands had to go in certain ways. First, they wanted us to be a strictly Buick store, and Stanley fought that tooth and nail. Finally, it was settled that we would be Buick Pontiac GMC. It was absolutely his foresight that got us to go after Hyundai. That was the first thing we did. I mean, he fought for Hyundai. We did a campaign, and so we got Hyundai, and of course then we had an even bigger problem because we had more to move. Throughout this, Stanley had built a team that was very loyal to him, just as my father's team had been.
My son wanted to stay in the car business. I said, if you're going to stay in the car business, Johnny, there's only one place to work, and that's Lester Glenn.
In June of 2002, I moved to Lester Glenn Auto Group as a salesperson at our GM Buick Pontiac store. After a year and a half or 2 years as a salesperson at the GM store, I was promoted to being a floor manager at the Hyundai showroom. Went up there in '03 and slowly worked my way up to being the general sales manager of that store.
My son worked his way up. The manager in the Hyundai store, I was very proud of him. While just getting back from a nice relaxing trip to Puerto Rico, Johnny calls me and says, Adam is in the business. Third generation, he's a great guy. Needless to say, I met with Adam, and it was everything my son had told me. And knowing Stan in the background with Lester Glenn, it was always the crown jewel to work in the auto industry. Here I am, 3.5 years later.
It's nice to be respected by your employers. They don't act like they're the owners. They come in and they greet everybody, and they talk to people like they're all family.
The Subaru store was honestly just my ticket in the company. I wanted to get back to a better company. I was at work on a Saturday at 3 o'clock. He called me. I was at Lester Glenn's office Monday at 9 to interview, and I started at 1 o'clock.
We've grown, and I say we because I feel like I'm a part of Lester Glenn. The ownership is out of this world. We see Mr. K when he's down weekly, and that's the kind of guy when he comes in, I give him a hug. I don't shake his hand, we give him a hug. Adam comes in regularly, we high five.
Anytime you have anything you need done or have, they have the right, absolutely right people all in place doing all the right things, and it just runs well. We're there as a team. Everybody works together.
Even though we're big with almost 400 employees, 6 locations, we still have that very close feeling with each other, and we like family.
Adam will say just little things that I remember his dad saying. So he'd say, and I laugh. I said, "Boy, you are just like your father." And I remember Ad and Karen when they were teenagers. Now they've all grown into business people.
Lester Glenn treats you like family there. And I hate to say this, but it's true. I really enjoy going to work. From the owner down to, the managers, they're all team players.
I've been in this business over 25 years, and I have to say that there are very few dealerships and very few family-run dealerships that run the way this one does. And that's probably because of the direct involvement. And that's just key. I've seen so many dealerships say, family-owned and operated, and meanwhile, there's not a family member to be found anywhere, by phone, by mail, by email. And this is different. You can always call the dealership. You can ask for Adam, you can ask for Stan, you can get one of them on the phone. They give out their personal email address, they give out their cell phone numbers. I mean, that's unique. They have their hand on the pulse of what goes on every day, and that's what sets them apart from every other dealer.
My father was a very gregarious man. It was his personality pervaded everything. There was always laughter, there was always fooling around. And his attitude was that he wanted a customer to be a friend. He wanted to count his customers among his friends.
Today, the Lester Glenn Auto Group is managed by its founder's grandson, Adam Kraushar. Adam takes pride in his long family tradition and feels strongly that this goal is to expand on what his grandfather and father have done.
The foundation of Lester Glenn's success has been customer service, taking care of the customer. First and foremost, we take care of the customer, and then everything evolves from that.
The Lester Glenn experience is treating people with courtesy and respect, whether they are in to buy a vehicle, to get some service, to ask directions, to pick up a brochure, no matter what it is. The idea is to give those folks a good experience.
Treat it like you're a Hall of Famer when you walk in our facility. Every customer is treated the same.
Lester Glenn truly built the whole operation around customer satisfaction. And then when Stan took over, he continued that tradition, and Adam has got it etched in stone and tattooed all over him that, you know, the Lester Glenn experience is real.
My grandfather believed, my father believed, and I believe it's just good business you take care of the people, whether it's the employees or the customers, and they will come back, or they will work hard for you.
I've been in the car business now 18 years, and it's much different working there, you know, versus some of the other places. Everyone will say take care of the customer, you know, in the open room and do the right thing, and then you get behind closed doors. Things aren't always the same. At Lester Glenn, that's how it is. You know, behind closed doors, take care of the customer. It's all they care about. And we're treated just as well. You know, we refer to it as the experience, but the experience doesn't necessarily only apply to the customer.
When I come home and I put some time in, I see 3 generations of families that I've sold cars to, and that's I think pretty rare in the automobile business, and I'm very proud of that.
In 2007, Adam began to take the company to the next level of expansion by adding the Lester Glenn Used Car Superstore and Auto Body Shop. 2009 brought its second Hyundai dealership in Manahawkin, New Jersey.
Adam came to us. He said, 2 is not enough, 3 is not enough. I want to build an empire. Are you going to be with me on this? And we said, make the numbers work and we'll be with you.
In 2010, the Lester Glenn family grew again with the addition of Mazda and Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. And in October 2010, the opening of the new location for Lester Glenn Hyundai.
At the beginning of 2010, we closed on a pretty meaningfully sized acquisition for us, a 10-acre piece of property with 2 facilities on it. We acquired the Mazda franchise, put that in the same building with Subaru. And the other building, which is just a huge 40,000 square foot facility that we have gutted and are completely renovating, and that will eventually be our new Hyundai store.
When we opened up the present Hyundai store on Route 37, we figured we were going to sell maybe 100, 125 Hyundais a month. And well, we're selling 400. We almost outgrew the facility within a year or 2.
All our vehicles will be on one location, an inventory of over 1,000 cars. Our showroom will have over 20 vehicles. Our service department will be able to quadruple its business to get people out at a much faster pace.
Everything about it will be state-of-the-art, and it will be the most up-to-date, the most impressive version of a Hyundai facility, of how Hyundai wants it to be. It's going to be Hyundai's benchmark facility.
My father was an egomaniac. He would have such a grin on his face. The fact that his name was plastered all over the place. He's just got to be saying, holy mackerel, this is just amazing. And my mother is probably sitting there just with a grin on her face, shaking her head, because it's really a little bit unbelievable. It is, and we're very grateful.
It has been foremost in the minds of all people associated with Lester Glenn to do everything possible to make the customer pleased to be doing business with Lester Glenn. And it is this satisfied customer that will make your job continue to exist. Lester Glenn.